What if I told you that everything you've been taught about change, transformation, and manifesting your dreams is completely backwards? But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Right now, as you're watching this, you might be thinking about all the things you want to change in your life. Maybe you're frustrated because, despite all your efforts, despite all the planning, saving, studying, and hoping, you still feel stuck in the same patterns. Has this ever happened to you? You work harder, you wait longer, you gather more resources, thinking that somehow, if you just accumulate enough time, money, or knowledge, transformation will finally knock on your door. Here's what most people don't understand about the nature of reality itself. The universe doesn't operate on human timelines or human logic. While we've been conditioned to believe that meaningful change requires years of gradual progress, that breakthrough demands extensive preparation, and that manifestation follows some complex formula of effort plus time equals results, spiritual law operates on an entirely different frequency. The truth is, you don't need more time. You don't need to wait another season, another year, or another sign from the universe. You don't need more money sitting in your bank account, more degrees hanging on your wall, or more effort poured into strategies that keep you running in circles. What you need, what you have always needed, is something so simple yet so powerful that most people walk right past it their entire lives. What you're about to discover might surprise you because it challenges everything our culture has taught us about how change really works. We've been programmed to believe that transformation is a slow burn, a gradual process that requires us to crawl toward our dreams. But what if that's the very belief that's been keeping you trapped? There exists a single, spiritually charged sentence that, when spoken with divine conviction, doesn't beg the universe for favors or hope that circumstances might improve. This sentence commands. It doesn't negotiate with your current reality. It rewires the very vibration of your existence and calls forth what was already prepared for you in the invisible realm. Stay with me until the end, because once you understand how to speak this sentence properly, your inner world will shift so completely that the outer world will have no choice but to respond within 24 hours. This isn't positive thinking or wishful affirmation. This is spiritual technology that operates according to laws most people never learn to access. You see, most of us have been trying to change our lives from the outside in, manipulating circumstances and forcing outcomes. But real transformation happens from the inside out, through the power of a word spoken in perfect alignment with divine law. The moment you speak with this kind of authority, something shifts in the invisible realm that immediately begins rearranging your visible experience. And the most remarkable part? This sentence contains 3 specific spiritual laws that, when activated simultaneously, create what can only be described as miraculous turnarounds in timing that defies human understanding. Now, I want to go even deeper into this revelation, because what I'm about to share with you completely contradicts everything we've been programmed to believe about how transformation actually works in our lives. Here's the hidden truth that most people never discover. Transformation operates on words, not time. While society has convinced us that meaningful change requires years of gradual progress, that we must slowly chip away at our limitations like sculptors working stone, spiritual law functions on an entirely different operating system. The moment you speak with genuine faith and declare your divine identity, spiritual law doesn't check your calendar or ask how long you've been struggling. It begins moving immediately. If you're finding value in these deep spiritual insights that actually create real change in your life, I'd love to have you as part of our community. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss transformative content like this that can genuinely shift your entire experience of reality. Think about this for a moment. Every major shift in your life, every breakthrough you've experienced didn't happen because you accumulated enough days or months of effort. It happened in an instant of decision, in a moment when something clicked, when you finally spoke or acted from a place of absolute knowing rather than hoping. That's not coincidence. That's how the universe actually responds to authentic spiritual authority. The most profound example of this is found in the very foundation of existence itself, Creation wasn't a process or a strategy that unfolded over eons of careful planning. The opening of all reality was a sentence: "Let there be light," and there was light. No negotiation, no gradual emergence, no testing period, just a word spoken with absolute authority, and reality instantly reorganized itself to match that declaration. This same creative authority, this same divine breath that spoke worlds into existence, has been given to you. You weren't designed to wander through life as a victim of circumstances, hoping that external forces might eventually align in your favor. You were created to speak your reality into existence with the same divine power that formed galaxies and set stars in motion. Most people spend their entire journey believing they're passengers in their own lives, waiting for permission from circumstances to change, for the right timing, for everything to line up perfectly before they can step into who they're meant to be. But that's the very mindset that keeps transformation at arm's length. The universe doesn't respond to waiting. It responds to speaking. It doesn't honor hesitation. It honors declaration. Behind the scenes of every miraculous turnaround, every unexpected breakthrough, every moment when someone's entire life shifted overnight, there was a decision to stop negotiating with reality and start commanding it. There was a moment when they finally understood that their words carry the same creative force that brought light out of darkness. When you grasp this concept, when you truly understand that your voice contains the same authority that shaped the cosmos, everything changes. You stop asking life for favors and start giving it directions. You stop hoping things might work out and start declaring how they will work out. The impact of this shift in consciousness is immediate and undeniable. Write in the comments, "I speak with authority," and let me know if this revelation is beginning to change how you see your own creative power. But here's what's fascinating about this journey of discovery. When I look at the lives of people who feel stuck, who feel like they've hit invisible walls despite their best efforts, I notice a consistent pattern that reveals something profound about how we've been approaching transformation completely backwards. You've probably tried everything, haven't you? You've filled countless journal pages with your dreams and goals, analyzing every angle of your situation. You've waited for the perfect timing, thinking that somehow the universe would send you a clear signal when you were ready. You've worked harder than most people around you, putting in the hours, following the strategies, checking all the boxes that society says lead to success. You've worried and planned and researched until your mind was exhausted with possibilities and scenarios. Yet despite all this effort, despite all this sincere dedication to personal growth and transformation, something crucial has been missing from your approach. Here's the hidden truth behind why so many genuine, hard-working people remain trapped in cycles of almost breakthrough. They haven't yet spoken the one sentence that cancels delay, breaks the invisible spells of limitation, and returns them to the perfect rhythm of divine timing. This isn't about positive thinking or wishful affirmations that try to convince the universe of something. This is about understanding a fundamental law of spiritual physics that operates whether we acknowledge it or not. Until you speak the word with true authority, not hoping, not requesting, not suggesting, but commanding, nothing moves in the realm where real change originates. But the moment you do speak with this kind of conviction, everything shifts in substance, not just in theory or feeling. The revelation that most people miss is this: spirit isn't moved by emotion, no matter how intense. It's not swayed by longing, regardless of how sincere. It doesn't respond to desperation or even to heartfelt pleading. Spirit responds to one thing: truth declared with faith, spoken boldly, and released without the contamination of fear or doubt. Think about the decisions that have actually changed your life. Behind the scenes of those pivotal moments, there was always a point where you stopped negotiating with circumstances and started declaring what would be. There was a moment when you moved from hoping something might happen to knowing it would happen. That shift in your internal authority created an immediate impact in your external reality. Most people live their entire lives without discovering this distinction. They spend decades sending mixed signals to the universe, wanting something desperately while simultaneously doubting it's possible, speaking words of faith while thinking thoughts of fear, declaring their dreams while secretly expecting disappointment. But spirit requires clarity of command, not confusion of desire. The transformative sentence I'm about to share with you operates on this precise principle. It's designed to cut through every layer of doubt, every pattern of delay, every inherited limitation that's been running your life on autopilot. When you learn exactly how to speak it, when to speak it, and what to expect when you do, you'll finally understand why some people seem to effortlessly attract what they want, while others struggle for years with the same goals. Write in the comments, "I'm ready to speak with clarity," if you're beginning to see how your own relationship with words and authority might need to shift. Now, I want to reveal something that might be uncomfortable to recognize, but understanding this pattern is absolutely crucial for breaking free from the invisible chains that keep so many people trapped in cycles of near success. Most people don't actually live lives, they live loops. They exist in repetitive spirals of waiting, caught in patterns of delay that feel like movement, but are actually just sophisticated forms of standing still. They walk the same emotional and mental circles, touching the edge of breakthrough only to mysteriously fall back into familiar territory of fear, doubt, and postponement. If you felt that shift in consciousness happening even as we were talking, if something inside you said, "Yes, this is truth," go ahead and hit the like button. It tells me these messages are reaching the right hearts at exactly the right time. Here's what's happening behind the scenes of this frustrating cycle. These aren't weak people or cursed individuals. These are often incredibly talented, well-intentioned souls who simply have never learned the fundamental difference between reacting to life and speaking with spiritual authority. They've mastered the art of responding to circumstances, of analyzing possibilities, of wishing for better outcomes, but they've never discovered the transformative power of decree. Think about your own journey for a moment. How many times have you felt like you were on the verge of a major breakthrough, only to find yourself back in the same patterns weeks or months later? How often have you experienced that moment of clarity where you knew exactly what you wanted and could almost taste the transformation, only to watch it slip away as old habits and mindsets crept back in? This isn't happening because you're not smart enough or deserving enough. It's happening because there's a crucial distinction between two entirely different ways of engaging with reality. Most people operate from a reactive mindset, constantly responding to whatever circumstances present themselves. They analyze, they wish, they hope, they plan, but they don't decree. The difference between breakthrough and stagnation lies precisely in this shift from reactive to declarative consciousness. When you decree, you're not asking the universe for permission. You're not hoping circumstances might align in your favor. You're not even trying to convince yourself that something is possible. You're stating what is, with the same authority that spoke light into existence. Without a decree, spiritual law remains completely inactive in your life. It's like having access to unlimited power, but never learning how to flip the switch. Without the words spoken with conviction, demonstration remains unborn, trapped in potential, but never manifesting in reality. Without a sentence that carries divine authority, your good stays sealed in the invisible realm, existing but never expressing. This is why some people seem to effortlessly attract opportunities, relationships, and abundance, while others struggle for years with the same goals. The difference isn't luck, connections, or even talent. The difference is in their relationship with spoken authority. Those who break through have learned to decree their reality rather than negotiate with it. The impact of understanding this distinction cannot be overstated. When you finally grasp that your words carry creative force, when you stop reacting to appearances and start commanding through declaration, your entire relationship with time, money, relationships, and possibilities shifts immediately. Write in the comments, "I choose to decree," if you're ready to step out of reactive patterns and into the authority that's been waiting for you to claim it. Now, I want to expose one of the most overlooked revelations about why transformation remains elusive for so many sincere people, because what I'm about to share will completely shift how you understand the relationship between your inner world and your outer circumstances. Here's the hidden truth that most people never discover. Lives become frozen, not by external enemies, not by lack of opportunity, not even by bad timing or unfavorable circumstances. Lives become frozen by internal silence. Behind the scenes of every stagnant situation, every pattern of delay, every cycle of almost breakthrough, there's a common denominator that has nothing to do with what's happening around you and everything to do with what's not happening within you. Even people with incredible vision, brilliant ideas, and genuine heart can become spiritual bystanders in their own lives when they lack rhythm in their word. They can see exactly what they want, feel passionate about their dreams, understand the steps they need to take, yet somehow remain stuck in the same patterns for months or even years. This isn't because they're not trying hard enough or because the universe is testing them. It's because they haven't learned to provide the sacred sentences upon which spiritual law can operate. Think about this carefully. How many talented individuals do you know who seem to have everything going for them on paper, yet can't seem to break through to the next level? How many visionaries have you encountered who speak brilliantly about their dreams, but somehow never quite manifest them into reality? The missing element isn't more strategy, more connections, or more time. The missing element is spiritual command expressed through spoken authority. Here's what most people fundamentally misunderstand about how the universe actually operates. Spirit will never override your silence. It will never impose order where your word hasn't specifically invited it. This isn't because Spirit is lazy or uninterested in your success. It's because the law is perfect, but not forceful. It waits for your participation, your vibration, your voice to give it direction and permission to work on your behalf. Until you provide that clear spiritual command, reality defaults to the only patterns available: the inherited limitations from your family, the fears absorbed from culture, the memories of past disappointments, and the collective mindset of scarcity that most people unconsciously agree to participate in. None of these defaults represent your true potential or divine design, but they become your experience simply because no alternative authority has been established through your spoken word. This is why two people can have identical circumstances, identical opportunities, even identical skill sets, yet produce completely different results. One has learned to participate actively in their own transformation through spiritual command, while the other remains a passive observer, hoping that external forces will somehow align to create the changes they desire. The impact of understanding this principle cannot be understated. The moment you realize that your voice is the key that unlocks spiritual law in your favor, the moment you understand that your words are the invitation Spirit has been waiting for, everything shifts. You stop being a victim of circumstances and start being the architect of your experience. Write in the comments, "Spirit is waiting for my voice," if you're beginning to see how your own silence might have been the only thing standing between you and your breakthrough. Now, I want to share with you a revelation that will completely transform how you see your role in creating the life you desire. Because this shift in understanding is the difference between those who seem to effortlessly navigate toward their dreams and those who spend years feeling like they're moving in circles. Picture this. You have a magnificent ship with its engine running perfectly and sails raised to catch the wind, but there are no coordinates set, no destination programmed, no clear direction given to the vessel. What happens? The ship doesn't sit still. It drifts. Not by accident, not because something is broken, but simply by absence of command. This is exactly how most people navigate their lives, and it explains why so many talented individuals feel like they're working hard but not getting anywhere meaningful. You weren't designed to drift through your existence, hoping that favorable currents might carry you toward something better. You were meant to direct, to set the coordinates, to command the vessel of your life with the same authority a captain uses to navigate across vast oceans. You're not meant to guess where you might end up based on external circumstances. You're meant to govern your own journey through the power of decisive spiritual command. But here's the crucial insight that most people miss. To govern effectively, you must speak with authority and give Spirit something concrete to work with. The universe responds to clear instructions, not vague wishes. It operates on definitive commands, not hopeful suggestions. When you provide precise spiritual coordinates through your spoken word, everything in the invisible realm begins to align with that declared direction. This brings us to one of the most practical yet profound aspects of this entire transformation process. You must say aloud, daily, faithfully, and rhythmically, the words that tell the universe exactly where to go. This isn't about positive thinking or casual affirmations muttered while you're distracted. This is about establishing a sacred rhythm of spiritual command that cuts through the noise of confusion and establishes unshakable truth as your new baseline. Most people underestimate the power of consistent daily declaration because they've never experienced what happens when you give spirit a clear blueprint to follow. Behind the scenes of every major breakthrough, every miraculous turnaround, every moment when someone's life suddenly accelerated in the right direction, there was a decision to stop, leaving things to chance and start providing specific spiritual instructions through spoken authority. The impact of this daily practice cannot be overstated. Until you speak with true authority on a consistent basis, your life cannot rise in power. It will remain subject to the random influences of other people's opinions, cultural programming, and inherited limitations. But the moment you begin providing daily spiritual direction through your voice, you become the governing force in your own experience, rather than a passenger hoping for a favorable journey. This isn't about spending hours in elaborate rituals or complicated spiritual practices. This is about understanding that your voice carries creative authority and learning to use it with the same precision and consistency that successful people use in every other area of their lives. Write in the comments, "I will direct my journey," if you're ready to stop drifting and start commanding your life with the spiritual authority that's been waiting for you to claim it. Now, I want to reveal something that will completely flip your understanding of how spiritual timing actually works, because this revelation has the power to instantly dissolve years of frustration and self-doubt about why your breakthrough seems to be taking so long. Here's the paradigm shift that changes everything. You're not waiting on spirit. Spirit is waiting on you. All this time, you've been thinking that somehow the universe needs to align perfectly. That divine timing means you must patiently wait for some cosmic green light, that perhaps you haven't suffered enough or learned enough lessons to deserve your good. But that's the exact opposite of how spiritual law actually operates. Behind the scenes of your current experience, there's a question that determines whether you're moving toward breakthrough or remaining stuck in familiar patterns. What sentence has governed your last 24 hours? Have you declared direction with authority, or have you spent your mental energy describing delays and obstacles? Have you prophesied your success with conviction, or have you complained about how long everything is taking? Have you activated spiritual law through spoken command, or have you surrendered your power to appearances and circumstances? This isn't about judgment or making yourself wrong for past patterns. This is about understanding the hidden mechanics of how your daily internal dialogue either accelerates or postpones your transformation. Most people spend their days reacting to whatever shows up, narrating their limitations, and unconsciously agreeing with every delay they encounter, then wonder why their lives feel stuck in slow motion. This is exactly the kind of spiritual technology I'm passionate about sharing with people who are ready to step into their true power. If this resonates with you, subscribe to the channel, because there's so much more revelation waiting for those who are serious about transformation. Here's what I've discovered through studying countless breakthrough stories and observing the patterns of people who seem to effortlessly attract what they want. Every delay, every derailment, every detour that has ever frustrated you shares one common factor. None of them was ever greater than the law. Not a single setback, regardless of how significant it seemed, had the power to override spiritual law when that law was properly activated through aligned speech. The law doesn't care how far you think you've gone in the wrong direction. It doesn't keep score of your mistakes or require you to work your way back to some starting point. It doesn't ask how long you've been struggling or demand an explanation for why you haven't figured things out sooner. The law responds instantly to one thing: the moment you speak the right word with proper alignment and spiritual authority. This means that your current circumstances, regardless of how challenging or disappointing they might appear, are not your final verdict. They're simply the result of whatever words and internal decisions have been governing your life up until this moment. The instant you shift from describing your delays to decreeing your direction, from complaining about timing to commanding your timeline, spiritual law begins its immediate response. The impact of grasping this truth cannot be understated. When you finally understand that Spirit has been waiting for your clear instruction rather than making you wait for some mysterious, perfect timing, everything changes about how you approach each day, each decision, each moment of potential transformation. Write in the comments, "Law is waiting for my word," if you're beginning to see how your own relationship with timing and spiritual authority might be ready for a complete transformation. Now I want to reveal the most liberating truth about how breakthrough actually happens, because understanding this principle will free you from the exhausting belief that transformation must be a slow, painful process of gradually earning your way to a better life. Here's the hidden truth that changes everything. The law of turnaround doesn't operate on logic. It doesn't calculate how long you've been stuck, how many mistakes you've made, or how complicated your situation appears to be. The turnaround operates purely on alignment. The very second you align your vibration with divine truth, the turnaround begins. Not next week, not after. You've proven yourself worthy, not when circumstances finally make sense. The moment alignment happens, the shift is already in motion. This is why some people experience dramatic life changes that seem to defy all logical explanation. Behind the scenes of these miraculous transformations, there wasn't years of gradual improvement or systematic problem solving. There was a moment of perfect alignment where someone finally spoke from absolute conviction rather than hope, where they declared truth. Instead of describing their limitations, the law doesn't require you to explain how you got into your current situation. It doesn't ask for a detailed analysis of your past decisions or a comprehensive plan for how you're going to fix everything. The law responds instantly to one thing: the command of faith spoken with unwavering alignment. The moment your words carry the vibration of divine truth rather than human doubt, everything begins to shift in the invisible realm. Here's what most people fundamentally misunderstand about spiritual timing. While culture has convinced us that change must be gradual, that we must slowly work our way out of limitations through careful steps and patient effort, spiritual law operates on an entirely different system. Spiritual law doesn't need time, it needs permission. And permission is given through the authority of your spoken word. Think about this carefully. Every major breakthrough in your life happened in an instant of decision, didn't it? Even if there was preparation leading up to that moment, the actual transformation occurred in a flash of alignment where you finally gave Spirit permission to move on your behalf through your declaration. The moment you declare alignment with divine good, speaking not from desperation but from authority, the law moves. It corrects your trajectory, reroutes your circumstances, and begins making all things new immediately. This isn't gradual improvement. This is instantaneous redirection at the level where reality is actually formed. This is why the sentence I'm about to share with you has the power to create visible changes within 24 hours. It's not because the sentence itself is magical, but because it provides Spirit with the clear permission and alignment necessary to activate laws that have been waiting for your command. The impact of understanding this principle transforms how you approach every challenge, every goal, every moment when you feel stuck. Instead of resigning yourself to long, slow progress, you begin to expect immediate response from spiritual law the moment you provide clear, aligned instruction. Write in the comments, "I give Spirit permission," if you're ready to stop negotiating with spiritual law and start commanding it through the authority that's already been given to you. Now, I want to share with you a real-life testimony that perfectly illustrates how dramatically life can shift when someone finally understands the difference between trying harder and aligning properly, because this story will show you exactly what becomes possible when you speak heaven's language instead of earth's limitations. A woman came to me in complete financial ruin. Her situation looked hopeless by every logical measure: debts mounting, relationships crumbling, opportunities seeming to disappear faster than she could pursue them. She had tried every conventional approach: budgeting, working extra hours, networking, applying for assistance programs, seeking advice from financial counselors. She was exhausted from effort, but trapped in the same devastating patterns. Here's what changed everything. I gave her one sentence anchored in spiritual law: not a complex strategy, Not a lengthy process, not a series of steps she had to perfect over months. One sentence that carried the vibration of divine authority. I taught her to speak it rhythmically 3 times every morning and 3 times every night, with one crucial instruction. No begging, no explaining, no negotiating with circumstances, just declaring. The transformation of her mindset was immediate, but what happened next defied every logical expectation about how financial recovery is supposed to work. Within 24 hours, she received a phone call that reversed her entire situation. A debt that had been crushing her for years was suddenly forgiven due to an administrative decision at the company. A check that had been held up in bureaucratic delays was immediately released. A new opportunity that perfectly matched her skills was offered to her by someone who had heard about her situation through an unexpected connection. Behind the scenes of this seemingly miraculous turnaround was a profound revelation about how spiritual law actually operates. The rapid transformation didn't occur because she had finally earned it through suffering, or because she had systematically fixed every aspect of her financial management. It happened because she finally spoke heaven's language instead of continuing to negotiate with earthly limitations. Here's the crucial insight that most people miss about timing and manifestation. The law doesn't move by speed, it moves by alignment. When your vibration aligns with truth without the contamination of fear, doubt, or contradiction, the law activates immediately. The changes may appear to take time from a human perspective, but the spiritual shift happens the instant alignment is achieved. This is why human effort alone, no matter how sincere or persistent, often produces frustrating results. You can work incredibly hard while remaining out of alignment with spiritual law, which means you're swimming against the current of divine order. But the moment you align your words and vibration with truth, you begin working with spiritual law instead of against it, and everything accelerates beyond logical explanation. The impact of understanding this distinction completely transforms how you approach every challenge in your life. Instead of asking how long something will take or how much effort it will require, you begin asking how to achieve perfect alignment with the truth you want to experience. Write in the comments, I choose alignment over effort, if you're ready to stop exhausting yourself with human trying and start experiencing the effortless power of spiritual alignment. Now, I want to ground everything we've been discussing in ancient wisdom that has been available for thousands of years, because understanding this biblical foundation will give you complete confidence in the spiritual technology I'm about to share with you. In Isaiah chapter 30, verse 21, there's a profound revelation about how divine guidance actually works in your life. And thine ears shall hear a word behind thee, saying, This is the way, walk ye in it. Most people read this scripture and assume it's only about receiving direction from heaven, but there's a deeper layer of truth hidden in this verse that completely transforms how you approach your own transformation journey. Here's the revelation that changes everything. This word doesn't just come from heaven to your ears, it must also come from your own mouth to your own ears. You must learn to declare, This is the way, with the same authority that heaven uses, and then begin walking by the sound of your own divine command. When you speak with genuine spiritual authority, you're not just hoping that heaven will guide you, you're actively participating in the very guidance system that shapes your reality. Behind the scenes of every major breakthrough, every moment when someone's life suddenly shifted into alignment with their deepest desires, there was a decision to stop waiting for external validation and start providing internal direction through spoken truth. They learned to hear their own voice carrying divine authority, and they began walking in rhythm with their own declarations rather than in reaction to circumstances. When you like this video, you're not just supporting the content, you're declaring that you're ready to receive more of this spiritual authority that can completely transform your life. That energy matters, and it helps these revelations reach more people who need them. This brings us to the most liberating truth I can share with you today. Your transformation is literally one sentence away. Not metaphorically, not eventually, but actually one sentence away from beginning the process that will realign your entire experience with what's already been prepared for you in the spiritual realm. This isn't because the sentence I'm about to give you is magical or mystical in some supernatural way. It's because this specific sentence carries the exact vibration of truth that activates spiritual law, ends the confusion that's been keeping you stuck, and realigns your life with what was already written about you before you were born. Think about the decisions that have truly changed your life. Behind every breakthrough, there was a moment when you stopped negotiating with limitations and started declaring what would be. There was an instant when you moved from hoping something might work out to knowing it would work out. That shift in your internal authority created an immediate impact that rippled through your external circumstances. The sentence I'm about to share operates on this same principle, but with precision and spiritual backing that most people never learn to access. When you speak it with proper understanding and alignment, you're not just making a positive statement, you're activating laws that govern how reality responds to conscious, intentional, spiritually aligned command. The impact of discovering this sentence and learning to use it properly cannot be overstated. It becomes the key that unlocks doors you didn't even know existed, the reset button that clears patterns you thought were permanent, the authorization code that gives spirit permission to rearrange your circumstances in ways that will astound you. Write in the comments, "I am one sentence away," if you're ready to discover the specific words that carry the power to activate your transformation within the next 24 hours. Now, I want to give you the exact sentence that contains the spiritual technology to transform your life within 24 hours, because this is the moment where everything we've been discussing comes together into a practical tool that you can use immediately to activate the laws we've been exploring. Here it is. This sentence is not poetry, not positive thinking, not a motivational phrase. This is spiritual technology, a divine key that when spoken in faith without apology overrides fear, cancels delay, breaks the rhythm of resistance, and activates demonstration within 24 hours. Say it slowly, with reverence, and speak it aloud. I now step into the life that has already been prepared for me. It appears within 24 hours, by divine law. The power of this sentence lies not in the words themselves, but in the three spiritual laws that are embedded within its structure. Each part of this declaration activates a different aspect of divine order, creating a perfect symphony of spiritual command that gives the universe precise instructions about how to respond to your spoken authority. Let me reveal the first law that's hidden within these words, because understanding this principle will completely transform your relationship with your own dreams and desires. When you say, "I now step into," you're activating what's called the law of assumption. This isn't about pretending or trying to convince yourself of something. This is about recognizing that you're no longer hoping, trying, chasing, or waiting for permission from circumstances to change. Behind the scenes of this simple phrase is a profound shift in consciousness. You're declaring that you're stepping into what already exists rather than trying to create something new. Think about this carefully. When you step into a room, you don't wonder if the room exists. You don't hope the room might be there. You don't try to build the room as you're entering it. You step into what's already prepared, already furnished, already waiting for your arrival. Heaven responds to movement and faith, not to hesitation and uncertainty. When you declare, "I now step into," you're demonstrating the kind of spiritual movement that activates divine law. You're showing faith not in what might happen someday, but in what already is in the invisible realm. This is the mindset that creates miracles, the consciousness that attracts synchronicities, the vibration that aligns with abundance. The impact of truly grasping this concept cannot be understated. Most people spend their entire lives hoping their desires might manifest, working to create what they want from scratch, trying to build their dreams piece by piece through human effort alone. But when you understand the law of assumption, you realize you're not creating your ideal life. You're entering it. You're not building your breakthrough. You're claiming it. This is why some people seem to effortlessly attract opportunities, while others struggle for years with similar goals. Those who break through understand that they're stepping into what's already been prepared, rather than hoping it might eventually be constructed through their effort and worthiness. Write in the comments, "I step into what already exists," if you're beginning to feel the shift that happens when you move from hoping to assuming, from trying to entering. Now, I want to reveal the second spiritual law embedded within this transformative sentence, because understanding this principle will completely liberate you from the exhausting belief that you must earn or build your way to the life you desire through years of struggle and gradual improvement. When you declare, "The life that has already been prepared for me," you're activating what's known as the law of divine timing. This isn't about waiting for the right moment to arrive. This is about recognizing that the life you've been dreaming about, the breakthrough you've been seeking, the transformation you've been working toward, isn't something you need to construct from scratch. It's already been prepared, completed, finished in the spiritual realm. Here's the revelation that changes everything about how you approach your goals and dreams. Every desire that has ever stirred your heart, every vision that has captured your imagination, every dream that has kept you awake at night with possibility, was placed there because it already exists in the invisible realm. You didn't randomly generate these desires. They're not accidents of wishful thinking. They're recognition signals, spiritual GPS coordinates pointing you toward what's already yours. Behind the scenes of your deepest longings is a profound truth that most people never discover. You're not creating your ideal life through human effort and determination. You're claiming what's already been designed, prepared, and positioned for you to step into. The universe doesn't plant desires in your heart for things that don't exist. It gives you visions of what's already available, dreams of what's already prepared, longings for what's already yours. This completely transforms how you approach every challenge, every goal, every moment when you feel like your breakthrough is taking too long. Instead of wondering if you're worthy enough or working hard enough to eventually create what you want, you begin to understand that you're simply learning to align with what's already been established on your behalf. Now let me reveal the third law that makes this sentence so powerful in activating immediate transformation. When you declare, "It appears within 24 hours by divine law," you're not setting a deadline or testing God's willingness to help you. You're activating the law of accelerated demonstration, which acknowledges that you're commanding in perfect rhythm with divine order rather than human timelines. The 24-hour time frame isn't arbitrary or demanding. It's an affirmation that spiritual law is instantaneous when your vibration is fully aligned with truth. This doesn't mean you're rushing the universe or trying to force outcomes. It means you're declaring your expectation that law responds immediately to properly aligned spiritual command. The I. Spiritual turnaround always happens immediately, even when visible manifestation follows in perfect timing. The moment you speak with true alignment, something shifts in the invisible realm that immediately begins rearranging your circumstances, opening doors, creating connections, and positioning opportunities that will astound you with their precision and timing. The impact of understanding these three laws working together cannot be overstated. You stop trying to convince the universe of your worthiness and start commanding from the authority that's already been given to you. Write in the comments, "It's already prepared for me," if you're beginning to feel the shift from working toward your dreams to claiming what's already yours. Now, I want to show you the biblical foundation that proves this 24-hour timeline isn't wishful thinking or spiritual bypassing. Because when you understand how heaven actually responds to aligned speech, you'll have complete confidence in the authority you're about to step into. In Isaiah chapter 65, verse 24, there's a revelation that completely transforms how most people understand divine timing and response. "Before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear." This scripture reveals something profound about the mechanics of spiritual law that most people never grasp. Heaven doesn't wait to respond to your aligned declarations. It responds in advance to the vibration of properly aligned speech. Think about what this means for your transformation journey. The moment you begin speaking the sentence I've given you with genuine alignment and authority, you don't have to wait for heaven to hear you. Process your request and then decide whether to respond. Before you even finish speaking the words, Spirit has already begun moving on your behalf. The response isn't coming after your declaration. It's already in motion the instant your vibration aligns with divine truth. Behind the scenes of every miraculous breakthrough, every moment when someone's circumstances shifted in ways that defied logical explanation, this principle was operating. The person wasn't desperately hoping that maybe heaven would eventually notice their need. They spoke with the kind of spiritual authority that heaven responds to instantly, and the demonstration began before they even finished their declaration. This brings us to the most crucial aspect of how you must speak this transformative sentence. Because the difference between powerful spiritual command and ineffective wishful thinking lies entirely in the consciousness from which you speak. The sentence must be spoken not from fear or pressure, not from desperation or doubt, but from authority. You're not asking a question about whether transformation is possible for you. You're declaring law. Here's what most people miss about spiritual authority. When you speak this sentence properly, you're not hoping that maybe the universe will be kind enough to help you. You're activating a law that never fails, a principle that governs supply, direction, healing, success, and every other aspect of abundant living. This law cannot delay or hesitate when it's spoken by someone who knows they're backed by divine right. The impact of this shift in consciousness is immediate and undeniable. The moment you stop speaking as someone who's hoping for favor and start speaking as someone who's exercising authority, everything changes about how reality responds to your voice. You're no longer a supplicant begging for assistance. You're a spiritual governor, activating laws that were designed to serve your highest good. Most people approach prayer, affirmation, and declaration from a place of lack, hoping that maybe their words will convince the universe to give them what they don't currently have. But when you understand your true spiritual authority, you speak from ownership, from knowing, from the absolute certainty that what you're declaring is already yours by divine design. Write in the comments, "I speak from authority," if you're ready to step into the consciousness of spiritual governance rather than spiritual begging. Now, I want to help you understand exactly what happens the moment you speak this sentence with genuine faith and spiritual authority, because recognizing this process will give you the confidence to step fully into the transformation that's waiting for you. This sentence serves as your key, and once spoken in faith, the gate swings open. Not metaphorically, not eventually, but immediately. The moment your words carry the vibration of authentic spiritual authority, you activate forces that have been waiting for your permission to work on your behalf. The law, once properly activated through your aligned speech, moves faster than thought and deeper than fear, and it will not return void. Here's what's happening behind the scenes when you finally speak with this level of conviction. You're no longer sending mixed signals to the universe, no longer hoping while doubting, no longer declaring while secretly expecting disappointment. You're providing clear, uncontradicted instruction to spiritual law, and that law responds with the same precision and reliability that governs the rising and setting of the sun. This is the sentence that most people hunger for their entire lives but never dare to declare. They sense that such authority exists. They feel drawn to this kind of spiritual command, but they hesitate because they've been conditioned to believe that speaking with divine authority is somehow presumptuous or unrealistic. They've been taught to hope rather than command, to ask rather than decree, to wait rather than speak. But the moment you understand that this authority was given to you by design, not by accident, everything changes about how you approach your transformation journey. You stop tiptoeing around your own spiritual inheritance and start claiming it with the boldness that heaven respects and responds to. The reason this sentence creates such powerful results is that it speaks to three fundamental spiritual laws simultaneously, creating what I call perfect harmony of spiritual command. When you declare, "I now step into," you're activating the law of assumption. When you say, "The life that has already been prepared for me," you're aligning with the law of divine timing. When you conclude with, "It appears within 24 hours," by divine law, you're invoking the law of accelerated demonstration. These three laws don't just work individually. They operate in perfect synchronization when the sentence is spoken with proper conviction and understanding. It's like playing a chord on a piano, where each note is perfect on its own, but together they create a harmony that's more powerful than any single note could be. The impact of this coordinated activation cannot be understated. Instead of hoping that maybe one aspect of spiritual law might eventually help you, you're commanding all three laws to work together in creating your breakthrough. Write in the comments, I activate all 3 laws, if you're beginning to feel the power of speaking in harmony with spiritual principles rather than against them. Now, I want to reveal the most liberating shift in consciousness that will completely transform how you approach every dream, every goal, every vision that's been stirring in your heart. Because understanding this principle will free you from the exhausting belief that you must somehow earn or build your way to the life you desire. When you truly grasp what's happening when you speak this sentence, you realize you're not waiting for something to arrive, wishing for circumstances to improve, or wandering through life hoping you might eventually stumble upon your breakthrough. You're stepping into what already is. In the invisible realm, the door is already open. The life you've been dreaming about already exists in complete form, finished and prepared, waiting for you to claim it through spiritual command. Here's the revelation that changes everything about timing and manifestation. Your ideal life isn't coming to you. It's waiting for you. The moment you step with faith and authority, declaring your alignment with what's already prepared, that life rushes forward to meet you. It's like walking toward a door that someone on the other side has been holding open, eager for your arrival. Behind the scenes of every major breakthrough, every moment when someone's circumstances shifted dramatically, this principle was operating. They stopped trying to create something new and started claiming something that already existed. They moved from building mode to recognition mode, from earning mindset to receiving consciousness. Here's what most people fundamentally misunderstand about their deepest desires and visions. The life you've been longing for is not being built somewhere in the future, requiring years of gradual construction through your effort and worthiness. It's done, complete, finished. The moment you desired it, the moment that vision captured your imagination, heaven designed it in perfect detail. Think about this carefully. Your vision wasn't random. It wasn't wishful thinking or fantasy. It was recognition. You saw what was already yours in the spiritual realm, and that recognition created the longing, the desire, the irresistible pull toward what's already been established on your behalf. The universe doesn't plant desires in your heart for things that don't exist. It gives you glimpses of what's already available. This completely transforms your relationship with time, effort, and transformation. Instead of wondering how long it will take to build the life you want, you begin to understand that you're simply learning to align with what's already complete. Instead of worrying whether you're working hard enough to deserve your dreams, you recognize that you're claiming what was designed for you before you were born. The impact of this shift from creation consciousness to recognition consciousness cannot be overstated. When you understand that you're not trying to convince the universe to build something new for you, but rather speaking into form what already exists in the invisible realm, your entire approach to transformation changes. Write in the comments, I recognize what's already mine, if you're beginning to feel the shift from working toward your dreams to claiming what's already been prepared for you. Now, I want to address what might be the most common question people have about this 24-hour time frame, because understanding why this timing works will give you complete confidence in the spiritual technology you're about to implement in your own life. The 24-hour declaration isn't about rushing the universe or setting unrealistic expectations. It works because spiritual law doesn't need time. It needs alignment. When you speak this sentence with proper understanding and authority, you're not demanding results or testing God's willingness to help you. You're commanding as one who knows, as one who understands that divine law operates instantaneously when your vibration perfectly aligns with truth. Here's what most people don't understand about the speed of spiritual transformation. Your world can literally rewire in an hour, in a breath, in a blink, when your words carry genuine truth and proper spiritual alignment. The limitations you've been experiencing aren't caused by divine delays or cosmic testing periods. They're the result of misalignment between what you're declaring and what you're actually believing, between what you're speaking and what you're vibrating. Behind the scenes of every miraculous turnaround, every moment when someone's circumstances shifted in ways that defied logical explanation, there was perfect alignment between their spoken word and their internal conviction. They weren't hoping their declaration might work. They knew it would work because they spoke from the consciousness of spiritual authority rather than spiritual begging. This brings us to the crucial understanding about how you must speak this transformative sentence, because the difference between powerful spiritual command and ineffective wishful thinking lies entirely in your approach to the words themselves. This sentence isn't a spell to be whispered once in private, hoping the ideas universe might overhear and respond. It's a command that must be given with rhythm, reverence, and repetition. You're not casting wishes into the air and hoping they might somehow manifest. You're constructing reality with the substance of sound, using your voice as a creative instrument that shapes the invisible forces that then shape your visible experience. Every time you speak with proper alignment and authority, you're literally building the framework that your breakthrough will follow. The impact of understanding this distinction completely transforms how you approach the sentence I've given you. You must speak as one who rules, not one who pleads. You must declare as one who knows, not one who doubts. Your tone, your posture, your expectation, everything about how you engage with these words determines whether you're activating spiritual law or simply repeating positive phrases. Most people approach affirmations and declarations from a place of lack, secretly hoping their words will convince the universe to give them what they don't currently have. But when you understand that you're speaking reality into form rather than begging for favors, everything changes about the authority and conviction in your voice. Write in the comments, "I construct reality with my words," if you're ready to step into the consciousness of spiritual authority rather than spiritual hoping. Now, I want to share with you the strategic timing that will maximize the impact of this transformative and sentence, because understanding when to speak these words can dramatically amplify their power and ensure you're working with spiritual rhythms rather than against them. There are 3 crucial moments each day when your words carry maximum spiritual authority and when the universe is most receptive to the commands you speak. The first is immediately upon waking, before the world has a chance to argue with your truth, before external circumstances can contaminate your consciousness with doubt or limitation. In those first moments of awareness, your mind is closest to the spiritual realm, most receptive to divine instruction, and least defended against transformation. Speak the sentence first thing in the morning, before you check your phone, before you engage with anyone else's energy, before the familiar patterns of worry or analysis can crowd out your spiritual authority. Let these words be the first vibration you send into the day, the initial command that sets the tone for everything that follows. The second strategic moment is at midday, when momentum from your morning declaration might threaten to fade under the pressure of circumstances, when the visible world tries to convince you that nothing has changed. This is precisely when you need to re-establish your spiritual command, to remind the universe of your declaration, to refresh the authority you spoke earlier. The third moment is before sleep, when the veil between the seen and unseen naturally thins, when your conscious mind releases its grip on control and your subconscious becomes most receptive to spiritual programming. Let this sentence be the last vibration your entire being receives before entering the realm where dreams and reality merge. Beyond these 3 anchor points, let this sentence become your spiritual password throughout the day, your energetic permission slip for entering new levels of abundance and possibility. Before you send important messages, make significant decisions, or step into challenging situations, speak these words silently to activate the spiritual backing that's always available to you. Now let me reveal the proper vocal technique that transforms these words from simple affirmation into spiritual technology. You cannot say this sentence fast or flat, rushing through the words like you're reciting a grocery list. Each word must be spoken with rhythm, breath, pause, and power. Imagine you're standing before the gates of your own kingdom, and your voice is the key that unlocks everything you've been seeking. Let every syllable carry command without contradiction, without rush, without the mental analysis that weakens spiritual authority. Don't try to figure out how it will work while you're speaking. Don't question whether you're doing it right. Don't doubt whether you deserve what you're declaring. Simply speak with the consciousness of one who knows their words carry creative force. The impact of proper timing and technique cannot be understated. When you align your spoken authority with natural spiritual rhythms and deliver your commands with the reverence they deserve, you create a consistency of spiritual instruction that the universe cannot ignore. Write in the comments, "I speak with perfect timing," if you're ready to begin implementing this daily rhythm of spiritual command that will transform your entire relationship with time and manifestation. Now, I want to address what might be the most critical aspect of this entire transformation process, because understanding this principle will determine whether you experience breakthrough or remain trapped in the same patterns despite speaking the right words. Here's the hidden truth that most people discover too late. You cannot speak this transformative sentence once in the morning and then spend the rest of your day speaking fear, doubt, and limitation. You cannot declare your breakthrough at dawn and then cancel it with complaints by noon. The moment you understand that your words carry creative force, you must also understand that every word you speak either strengthens or weakens the spiritual command you've established. Think of your mouth as a temple, because that's exactly what it is, a sacred space where divine authority flows through human expression. You must guard this temple with the same reverence and protection you would give to any holy place. Let nothing come from your lips that contradicts your declaration, nothing that weakens your word, nothing that undermines the spiritual authority you've activated. Behind the scenes of every failed manifestation, every declaration that seemed to lose power over time, there was a pattern of spiritual self-sabotage where the person spoke breakthrough in moments of inspiration, but returned to limitation in moments of challenge. They would declare abundance while worrying about bills, speak healing while complaining about symptoms, proclaim success while describing their failures. This isn't about perfection or walking around in denial of current circumstances. This is about understanding that your word is either building the reality you desire or reinforcing the reality you want to escape. There's no neutral ground when it comes to spoken authority. Every sentence you speak is either a brick in the foundation of your breakthrough or a weapon against your own transformation. Here's what most people never learn about the spiritual physics of manifestation. Spirit is substance, not empty space, not wishful energy, but actual spiritual substance that responds to direction. Word is vibration, not just sound waves, but creative frequency that carries the power to reshape reality at its foundational level. And vibration is the pattern that matter must obey. When you speak from true spiritual alignment, your words send specific commands into the invisible realm, creating patterns that literally pull every particle of your reality into new form. This isn't mysticism or metaphor. This is spiritual science. Every time you speak with genuine authority and alignment, you're programming the invisible forces that then program your visible experience. You're establishing the spiritual blueprint that physical reality must follow. You're setting the vibrational pattern that circumstances, opportunities, relationships, and resources will arrange themselves to match. The impact of understanding this principle transforms how you approach every conversation, every internal dialogue, every moment when you're tempted to describe limitations rather than declare possibilities. You begin to realize that your voice is literally the instrument through which you shape your world. Write in the comments, "I guard my words like a temple," if you're ready to take full responsibility for the creative power that flows through your voice every moment of every day. Now, I want to reveal the crucial missing element that explains why some people speak powerful words, yet see no transformation, while others experience miraculous results with the same declarations, because understanding this principle will ensure your words carry the spiritual voltage necessary to create immediate change. Jesus demonstrated this perfectly in Matthew chapter 8, verse 13, when he said, "As thou hast believed, so be it done unto thee." And healing occurred in the very same hour. Not the next day, not after a period of gradual improvement, but in the same hour the words were spoken. Here's the key that most people miss. Belief must perfectly match the word, and the word must activate spiritual law rather than just express human hope. Behind the scenes of this instantaneous healing was perfect alignment between what was spoken and what was believed, between the declaration and the conviction. Most people today speak the right phrases, but in completely wrong rhythms. They mouth words of abundance while thinking thoughts of lack. They declare breakthrough while expecting delay. They speak healing while believing in limitation. This internal contradiction creates what I call spiritual static, a mixed signal that confuses the very laws you're trying to activate. When your belief doesn't match your word, you're essentially giving the universe contradictory instructions, and the result is the kind of inconsistent manifestation that leaves people wondering why spiritual principles seem to work for some, but not for others. Here's the revelation that will transform how you approach every declaration you make. Think of your words as architectural blueprints for your experience. Your sentence is the design, and spirit is the builder. The moment your design is clear, consistent, and fully aligned with your internal conviction, the building process begins immediately in the invisible realm. God builds fast. There's no backlog in heaven, no waiting list for divine supply, no bureaucratic delays in spiritual law. The only delay occurs when the blueprints are unclear, when the design keeps changing because your belief keeps contradicting your words, when you submit one plan through your declaration, but a completely different plan through your doubt. Think about this carefully. Every successful architect knows that construction can only begin when the blueprint is finalized and approved. The builders can't start laying foundations while the architect is still changing the design. In the same way, spiritual law can't begin manifesting your breakthrough while you're constantly revising your belief about whether it's actually possible for you. The impact of achieving this perfect alignment between belief and word cannot be overstated. When your internal conviction matches your spoken authority, when your faith aligns with your declaration, when your belief supports rather than contradicts your command, you create the kind of spiritual clarity that produces what can only be described as miraculous results. This is why the sentence I've given you must be spoken not just with proper technique and timing, but with unwavering internal agreement. Every part of your being must be saying yes to what your mouth is declaring. Write in the comments, "My belief matches my word," if you're ready to eliminate the internal contradiction that's been preventing your declarations from manifesting in the physical realm. Now, I want to reveal the most profound aspect of this transformative sentence, because understanding this will show you exactly how it becomes a complete reset button for your entire mental and emotional operating system, literally rewiring the neural pathways that have been keeping you trapped in old patterns. This sentence doesn't just declare what's coming into your life, it actively replaces what was dominating your consciousness. Every time you speak these words with conviction and rhythm, you're doing more than making a positive statement about your future. You're clearing the fog of old timelines that have been clouding your vision, canceling the emotional residue of delay that's been weighing down your spirit, and telling your entire being at the cellular level that you no longer live in fear, but in spiritual law. Behind the scenes of this transformation process is a profound truth about how consciousness actually changes. Your mind doesn't respond to occasional inspiration or sporadic motivation. The mind bows to rhythm and repetition. When you establish a consistent pattern of speaking this sentence with authority, you're literally creating new neural pathways that support breakthrough rather than reinforcing the old pathways that supported limitation. Think about how this works in every other area of life. Musicians don't become masters by playing a song once perfectly. They practice the same pieces repeatedly until excellence becomes automatic. Athletes don't achieve peak performance through occasional training. They establish rhythms of consistent practice that reprogram their muscle memory. In the same way, spiritual transformation happens through the sacred repetition of aligned truth until that truth becomes your new mental baseline. Here's what most people fundamentally misunderstand about how the universe actually operates in response to human consciousness. The universe doesn't respond to your need, no matter how desperate or sincere. It doesn't move based on your problems, regardless of how challenging they might be. Divine law doesn't act on confusion, even when that confusion feels overwhelming. The universe responds to one thing: your word spoken with spiritual authority. Divine law acts on clarity, on decisive spiritual command, on the kind of unwavering declaration that cuts through doubt and establishes truth. Heaven doesn't move when you panic about your circumstances or when you plead for rescue from your limitations. Heaven moves when you command, when you speak as one who knows their divine inheritance and isn't afraid to claim it. The moment you speak as law rather than as supplication, as settled truth rather than desperate hope, the entire architecture of the unseen realm shifts to support your declaration. Forces that seem to be working against you suddenly begin working for you. Doors that appeared locked begin to open. Opportunities that were invisible become obvious. And here we are, at the end of this revelation together. If you've stayed with me through this entire journey, you've received something that most people spend years searching for, the exact spiritual technology that can transform your life within 24 hours. You now have the sentence, you understand the 3 laws it activates, and you know precisely how to speak it with the authority that heaven respects and responds to. What we've shared here today isn't just information. It's transformation waiting to happen the moment you begin implementing what you've learned. This is the kind of content I'm passionate about bringing to you, these deep spiritual principles that actually work when you apply them with faith and consistency. If you found value in this revelation, I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel so you never miss insights like these that can genuinely shift your entire experience of life. And if you made it all the way to the end of this video, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment and simply say, I received the key, so I know you're ready to step into the life that's already been prepared for you. Your engagement means everything to me because it tells me these messages are reaching the right people at exactly the right time. If this content resonated with your spirit, if you felt that shift happening even as we were talking, go ahead and hit the like button. It helps more people discover these transformative principles, and honestly, it lets me know we're connected in this journey of spiritual awakening. Now, there's something else I want to share with you that perfectly complements what we've discussed today. There's a video right here that dives even deeper into the practical application of spiritual authority in your daily life. Click and continue with me over there, because the transformation you've started today is just the beginning of what's possible when you truly understand the power that flows through your voice. Your breakthrough is waiting. Let's keep going together.